Welcome back to the third installment of this Guitar Archaeology series, where we'll continue the restoration and preservation of a 1959 Silvertone 1417. Last episode we disassembled, inspected, and cleaned the body. This episode we will be repeating that process on the neck of the guitar, then moving on to some of the repairs needed. Let's get to it. I'll begin by removing the strip tuner assembly from the rear of the headstock. There are 3 small screws securing it. Now I'll remove the screw securing the aluminum nut and get it out of the way. I use a soft bristle detailing brush to remove a majority of the dust buildup on the neck. This works well to get into all the cracks and crevices around the Silvertone logo. I apply the restorative finishing cream first to the painted sections of the headstock, which will allow it time to dry while I clean the other parts. Using a Q-tip and the low abrasion metal cleaner, I clean and polish the tuning peg ferrules as well as the raised Silvertone logo. Now that the metal bits are cleaned, I go back and buff out the painted surface and the headstock is finished.
Go and give it a foyer.
The Brazilian rosewood fretboard on this guitar was quite parched. Luckily there was no damage to the fretboard, but it was in serious need of rehydration. I applied a generous amount of fretboard conditioner and let it sit for about 30 minutes to allow the wood to absorb and open its pores. Then I continued with removing the years of playing buildup. Unfortunately, I had a camera malfunction at this point and did not get the entire fretboard cleaning process recorded. I continued to clean the wood with the conditioner until all the old residue was gone. Then I used 000 steel wool to lightly polish the frets. The end result was fantastic, but you're going to have to wait until reassembly to see it. Now that the body and the neck have been disassembled, inspected, and cleaned, let's move on to some of the repairs that were needed on this guitar. One of the deficiencies on this guitar was a faulty tone switch. The guitar had the same tone in every position and the tone knob had no effect. This indicates that the tone switch is not engaging properly in the up and down position and is stuck in the center bypass position. I could replace the switch for about $15, but I'm going to attempt to repair this one in hopes to keep the guitar as original as possible. I'll begin inside the control cavity, where I will desolder and disconnect the 3 leads to the tone switch. I removed the retaining nut on the front side of the body and will now extract the switch through the control cavity opening. Here is a closer look at the tone switch, made by Carling Electric, which was founded in the 1920s in Connecticut and is still operating today as an international corporation. Here is a breakout of the switch after disassembly. We have the base of the switch with 3 terminals, a copper armature that rocks from a channel in the center contact to the outer contacts. A spring-loaded non-conductive plunger recesses into the switch lever, which has a ball socket that mates to the switch housing. Finally, a hex nut for mounting depth adjustment and the outer washer and hex nut. I begin by using a Q-tip and electronic cleaner by CRC to clean the copper contacts and armature. This will remove any residual buildup and ensure we get a good connection. This cleaner won't harm any of the non-metallic parts. I test the armature in the base and verify that the rocking action allows for contact on both outer terminals. Next, I clean the ball socket mating surfaces for the switch lever and the housing. I apply DuPont multi-purpose Teflon lubricant to the ball socket surfaces to reduce friction and wear. I also lubricate only the upper channel of the copper armature where the non-conductive plunger traverses. I carefully reassemble the internal components and hold the upper housing to the base by hand temporarily to test the operation of the switch. It appears to be functioning smoothly in all 3 positions, so I use a pair of pliers to fold the housing tabs around the base permanently. It's time to reinstall the switch and reconnect the 3 wire leads. I also want to note that I used the CRC electronic cleaner to clean the inside of the volume and tone potentiometers, but did not record this procedure. Was the tone switch repair successful? Well, you're going to have to wait until the playing test after final assembly. That's all the time we have for this episode of Guitar Archaeology. Stay tuned for our next episode.